Okay, this lesson we're going to look at area under a curve. Definite integration is sometimes called. Basically, definite integration is when you've got numbers on your integral sign. So if you can see there, for example, I've got a 1 and a 2. And what you, that's definite because you definitely know the numbers. So what you do is you integrate as normal. So add 1 to the power, so it becomes 2x squared over 2. Add 1 to the power, so it's x3 over 3, then cancel off your 2's. And then what you do, you don't bother putting the plus c in this time. You put wee square brackets around the integration. 2 is your upper limit, 1 is your lower limit. Then you sub in 2, so it's 2 squared minus 2 cubed over 8. Take away, sub in the bottom limit. So it's 1 squared minus 1 over 3. So you sub in top value into the integrated expression, and you take away when you sub in the bottom value of the integrated expression. And the reason we don't put in the plus c is because if you put it in here, this bracket's going to have a plus c, and this bracket's going to have a plus c, and they cancel off. So it doesn't really matter putting the plus c's in, you don't really need them. And that's what we call definite integration. Okay, we use it quite a wee bit to find the area under a curve. This is quite good. So if you've got a curve, and say you wanted this area between A and B, you would integrate the curve, so that's fx dx. You'd integrate your y, sometimes it's written like this. So integrate your curve and then put in the upper limit, put in the lower limit and subtract the 2. And the problem with these questions is finding those values. So that's what I'm going to run through in this wee second example here. So I want the area between this graph and the x-axis. So I would always sketch the curve. To sketch the curve in its basic form, so this is quite a straightforward sketch, put x equals 0, so y is 0, so it goes through this point. Then put y to be 0 to see where it crosses the x-axis. So if you put y equals 0, you've got quadratic, so factorise it out, take your x out, put this equal to 0, put this bracket equal to 0. So it crosses the x-axis when x is 0 and x is 4/3. So I'll just find my axis intersection. So I can then sketch my curve. I now want the area between the curve and the axis, so between 0 and 4 over 3. So between 0 and 4 over 3, I'm going to integrate my curve. So you add 1 to the power, divide by it, add 1 to the power, divide by it. Tidying that up. That's my upper limit, and that's my lower limit. Subbing in 4/3. Quite often I use curly brackets when I've subbed in the first number. Sub in 0. You don't have to use curly brackets, it's just your own choice there. Working those out. Now you see the way I've got a negative answer. The reason it's negative is because it's in beneath the x-axis. An area is obviously a positive value. So whenever you're giving your answer, make sure you give it as a positive. You would be marked down if you left it as a negative.